In this episode, we will be discussing motherhood and how important the role is in society. Mothers are the true cornerstone of the family. At least that's my opinion. Because of the patriarchy, we all learn our emotional intelligence from a woman, and she is looked at as the emotional anchor for humanity. I know, bold statement, but it's the truth. The thing is, I don't think women understand that though. They don't understand the weight or power they hold because of patriarchal conditioning. Black women especially. Mothers handle everything. When are we, as women and people, gonna admit that what we're handling is surviving day to day in the capitalist society? A system that's man-made, something everyone is constantly complaining about, and the mass majority of people are experiencing the baseline of reality, which is working and paying bills. It's because the choice is legitimately out of reach. All I've heard from women since social media is that motherhood sucks. There's no sugarcoating it. There's a woman on TikTok with an entire list, and I feel like that list has to be up to 1,000 reasons by now on why you shouldn't have a baby, ranging from reasons like your teeth falling out to having a stillborn. Women beg to be seen differently, and we as women know that we have something special that men just don't. But what are we doing with it? Centering men and using women as dumping grounds. There's a pipeline to marriage and children because of that false sense of security. Women have known for decades that things haven't been fair or well for them and their children, but they've stayed complacent instead of changing the system and turned against each other. We've become petty. It's become who has a man and all this other nonsense when we know they aren't the prize because they're just as human as we are. And no, I'm not a mother. But guess what? Women, from the time they're born, are having children projected onto their future and being forced into caregiving roles. I've personally been a mother to my own mother and my younger sister. Shoot, my friends as well. Being a mother is so much more than physically pushing a baby out of your body. And I speak from this place of irritation because I watched my mother and the women she chose to be around lose themselves for men, and their kids suffered because of it. Like, ladies, are y'all not realizing that we are humans when we're kids, when we're children? We can feel the energy change when dad is around as opposed to when you're by yourself. We know you really enjoyed something and that you denied yourself to make someone else happy. We're watching your every move, and you loving yourself to the best ability is what will really help your children develop a strong sense of self. Not in a selfish capitalistic way either. Because at the end of the day, buying anyone's love is not realistic. So black mothers, black people, stop trying to buy your kids' love. You need to go to therapy, handle yourself, leave that town, stop eating that food, stop hanging around those people. And that is something that's when you're going to see that real change in your life and in your kids' life. Because I feel like people know that stuff trickles down. So it's like your dysfunction just trickles down to your kids. And I feel like when you make the choice, because I refuse to allow y'all to brainwash me the way y'all brainwashed yourselves into believing you needed to have kids. Because y'all will sit there and say that and talk about it being the times and, that's just what people did. But it's like, no, you wanted to fit into this society, and that's what everyone does. Like, they just have kids. Like, I have been waiting for someone to be real and just say that. Because it's like, admit that to yourself and move accordingly. But if you already had kids and you had this realization, you need to understand how responsible you are for that human being now. Because you brought an entire person here, and that's their life in your hands. And you are the person, regardless of religion, family, or anyone else, who has to keep that baby full term. It has to exit you, and you alone have to make that choice. And think about if it was you with that baby alone. Disregard anybody else, because you know the reality of our world. And you don't get to hope for better knowing the truth. I feel like women, we need to be more wise in our decisions, because I feel like hope has led women to a lack of action. It's like there's this passiveness and willingness to leave it for someone else to fix until it has gotten uncontrollable. And then y'all keep bringing and raising people who aren't actually helping or fixing society as a whole. And we're just following the patterns of, what has come before us in our society. And then kids go to school, they're brainwashed, it's like, you just become another worker, and you bring them to a world, into a system that doesn't even care about them. But you are supposed to. And what are you doing? I need you to understand that you are important. Women, mothers, you are so important. My mother was my entire world. And mind you, she's the reason why I'm mentally ill. As a child, I thought by sacrificing myself, I could save her from herself. If I could be that mother or friend and everything that she needed, and all that and more, it would just be enough to see that so she could see that she was more than enough all by herself. But in doing so, I lost a self that I never even had the chance to develop. And it's like my mother's influence still pushes me in some ways to this day. And I do have a lot of empathy for who she was as an individual. But I also couldn't keep her in my life because of how she treated me and how her raising me changed the trajectory of my life. So it's like, you're not just having a baby. You're not just influential for little girls. Women and mothers shape our direction for female friendships and the emotional dynamic that a woman has with herself. It's a direct reflection of who her mother was in her life. And I know that a lot of people have seen, or women on TikTok, because y'all, I'm active on TikTok. That's my app, okay? I don't really do Instagram that much, or Twitter or any of that. But I can get hit, but I really don't. But Vice President Kamala said that she never aimed to be humble. That's not what she was aiming to do. And I feel like that's something that I have been yearning to hear a woman say and didn't know it. Because most women always want to be humble, because America is it's just this religious environment, and in the Black community, it's, tenfold, because inadvertently we are trying to be like our oppressors, whole different conversation. But it's like America in general rewards that meekness and people who follow orders and fit within that system. And it's like, women, we are smart enough to know this rhetoric. And instead of telling girls to stand up for themselves, women of older generations will just force them into societal submission with fear. Then other women become mothers and lose their entire identity. And then, the focus is on the new human, which it should be. But because our system isn't set up for a person's genuine success, it's like, now you're alone. Even in marriage, you're isolated, and you're realizing that this is all you have. And it usually isn't enough, because we need so much more community than the capitalist system provides. And it's like, you should know, apart from all the little crap that, is pushed in our faces. This is why I really believe you need to be intelligent to bring another human being here. But that being a mother is so much more work than just the financial aspect. And most of y'all don't have the emotional capacity to have kids, but you still choose to have kids. And it starts to feel like a loop. And I just want women to take accountability for the part that they've been playing. Like, can we get to this point where we look at ourselves and say, okay, I'm the person who is pregnant. I'm the person who knows that this man who I was with wasn't even here for me and really isn't going to be here for no baby. I know that, maybe I am not the best with my anger, or I'm not the best with learning new things, because it's like, you gotta learn new things with kids. You gotta learn the homework. It's so much comes into being a mother or being a mentor figure for someone, because you know more than them, and you have to be willing to be patient with them. So it's like, when can we get to that point of we are in control of the way that the world goes, the direction, because we are the person in the family that everybody is really like, emotionally bouncing off. We're playing off of who we are. And it's like, we're going to talk about the men. Trust me, we're going to point the finger. I will have an episode where we are doing that. But I want to focus on us, because the men played us for so long and we allowed it. We allowed ourselves to be trapped by the same society of men who don't want us to reach our full potential. And then we go on and have children and put them into these systems with a false and unrealistic sense of hope that they won't be affected by beliefs that harm us all, that we all find ourselves playing into, because everybody feels like they have no choice, but we wake up with a choice every single day. And I want us to heal our world and our generations of people before actively continuing to place the burden of humanity on us with this having kids. And, the truth is, women, we the one raising them. And I need us to stop inadvertently placing that burden on ourselves and then acting surprised that, honestly, that we are suffering and deteriorating. Like, that things are happening. It's like, you got to stop that religious mindset, believing that a man needs to lead you to intelligence, and lead yourself there. That you need to sharpen yourself, because iron sharpens iron. We need to get to sharpening. We need to get to that place where it's like, all right, I know who I am, and I know what I desire, and I'm going to try to create it. And I know that this is not effective. I know that me sitting in the house, being a stay-at-home mom, and he has all the money is not effective. I understand that me not having no community, no help is not effective. I understand that my kids running into the same things I ran into and wondering why life is life and what our purpose on this world is, and just, feeling confused. I understand all that. You know what? Now I need to do something about it. And I feel like, a lot of this was a rant of like, and I don't want to feel like I'm coming for nobody, because I said, I had a little irritated tone, but it's because I feel like people without community it's like we're losing that social aspect of, I guess, like empathy, but also just understanding like a social situation, understanding like, okay, this is not working. Why aren't we stopping? And it's like, it's very weird as a society that we all can say that certain things aren't working and do nothing about it. That is like a mental illness in itself. Like, there needs to be a pause. You get what I'm saying? And it's like, for women to be who we are, the people who, like, the original gossipers, and just people who like sit and analyze and, can feel that spiritual level of things. It's like, why are we not doing anything? But we're continuing to procreate, and we know that it's just exhausting us at the end of the day. You know what I mean? But I want better for us, because I'm a woman, okay? And if I'm winning, you winning. In the next episode, we will be discussing social currency and how much looks matter.